What's up, everyone? On today's Contractor Growth Network, I actually just spent the past week traveling and visiting 2 different companies, and both of them do 2 things to make their company grow and grow fast. Stick with it, and I'll show you what those 2 things are. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Logan.
I'm Alex.
And today we're talking all about 2 things that I learned over the past week, because I just traveled to San Diego and learned from one of the biggest marketing guys in the game right now, how he runs his operation. And then Alex and I, if you listened to last week's podcast, just went to Ann Arbor, Michigan and visit one of my clients. And it was a hell of an experience, I would say.
Yeah, I would say never thought I'd like to go to Michigan in my life, but I could see myself living in Ann Arbor. That was a beautiful town, nice college town, a lot of tradition, and the way that Todd, our client up there, ran his operation made me feel like, this is a nice area.
We got a lot from the trip, I would say, for our business, which is cool. So yeah, it was very, very impressive as a whole. So Todd, if you're listening, just know that it was very impressive.
Yeah, I loved that trip. Every aspect of it was great.
Yeah,
so.
And we're exhausted because when you do the video stuff all day long, it gets to be a lot.
My back is killing me.
Yeah, it gets to be worth it. So the first place that I went was last week. I was in San Diego, and I was visiting this dude. His name is Billy Gina's Marketing. He's a big marketing guy. We follow a lot of his same stuff because he's real. He speaks very candid about the marketing stuff. He's realistic, and he had a day where what you could do is you could spend $1,000, fly out there, and he'll walk you through his entire operation. And now this guy, 5 years ago, his business was at 0. This year, my guess is he'll probably end up probably doing 13 or 14 million. So I went from nothing to this, and when I say 13 or 14, it's not like he's spending 10 million to make 13 or 14 million. I mean, he's got, if you see the cars that he drives, he does well. He does very well. But I learned exactly these 2 things that he does really, really well, and he taught us this at this one-day class where he showed you a full behind the scenes of how he runs his operations. There's 5 or 6 different aspects of business that he focuses on. He's got 1 is marketing, 2 is sales, 3 is the actual fulfillment of that, 4 is customer support, 5 is finance, 6 is legal. I mean, he even brought his lawyers on stage to walk through how they lay everything out. But what he does is he walks through hey guys, this is how I run my marketing department. And then he spends an hour talking all about that, including a Q&A. So it's pretty behind the scenes into everything.
Yeah.
Now, what I learned from him is how systematized everything is in his business. And the buzzword in the small business world is I need systems, I need processes, I need procedures, because we've read the E-Myth. We know what Michael Gerber talks about with this is the McDonald's, process, and how when you buy McDonald's, it tells you everything from where the light switch needs to be to what the temperature needs to be set at, things like that. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like a buzzword in the contract, or not the contracting world, in the small business world, because we don't know what systems and processes to set up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's, Alex, for your dad, I mean, if you said, Dad, what systems do you have in place? What would he say?
If I we deliver it to the house. It's just the job itself process and systems.
Turn the truck on.
Yeah, exactly.
Put my foot on the gas.
Yeah.
It's just, but it's just such a big buzzword. And I hear this a lot in the marketing stuff. And I'm like, hey, somebody calls me up, wants some help with marketing. We talk about it. And I'm like, okay, where do you want to go from here? And they're like, well, I got to get some systems in place first. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, okay, what systems? Oh, just the systems. I'm all right, no, cool, man. I get that. I know the word.
All the systems.
I know exactly what the word system means. I'm just curious. What system are you specifically because maybe it's something that I could even kind of just point you in the right direction because I'm big on this. Oh, and nobody has a right answer because it's the scapegoat reason. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So nobody actually knows what systems to do, which is we're slowly systematizing our stuff here at Full Sail, where we have checklists for things. Mm-hmm. Which is all the stuff that we teach you in the Blueprint marketing program, which is what is the system to set up an actual Facebook ad? Well, we have a whole checklist that just goes step 1 this, step 2 that, step 3 that, which is great because 1, you get to learn this stuff, mm-hmm. and 2, if we hire a new employee to run Facebook ads, everything's set up for them.
Yeah.
So there is no reinventing the wheel every single time.
Yeah. I know my girlfriend just got a new job and she leaves on Friday. So she sent a whole list to her boss. This is what I do. So the next person that comes in, this is just the step-by-step what I do. And the boss was like, small business. So he was like, wow, I didn't even know you did this. And that's like crazy to think that he didn't even know what her real job was, essentially. So that whole system is going to help out the next employee, and they'll probably get done in half the time of training that she had to do when she first started.
Exactly. And a lot of these systems and checklists and stuff, I mean, think of it as like a customer. If you're doing marketing with us and we're like, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to, run a Facebook campaign for you. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that versus, hey, we actually have an entire, checklist of stuff that we have to go through. What if I just put it out? I'll show you what it looks like so you know exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows that we actually know what we're doing versus like, oh yeah, man, like we'll just we'll do this Facebook ad thing. Like,
what do you think?
Yeah, so it just actually shows that we know what we're doing. And that's the same thing with your business. If you're like, hey, look, like when a technician comes out to your house, here's the things that they have to do and they have to check off before they leave. It's going to help the client make a decision on who to use because it just alleviates the unknown.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, and even the employees, a lot of times you leave a job and you're like, all right, now what? And it's like, I guess we just clean up. And then you forget 3 steps on the truck ride home because you're like, oh man, we didn't have that in place. But if you have it in place, it's just second nature to you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what, like, the first thing is that both of these companies between Billie Jean and Tribble is they both had everything so systematized. Billie Jean had this thing called Autonomous August, which was he stepped out of the company for the month of August and pretty much said, don't call me for anything.
Yeah.
Like, imagine, like, if you're a business owner out there, imagine if you just stepped out of the company for an entire month and told everybody that works for you, hey, don't bother calling me. What would happen to your company?
I see the flames going off in my head.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even here, like, we're getting better at it. And it's, if I go away for a week, like, stuff still happens. But there's certain things that, like, only I know how to do. So we're slowly getting to that point where, like, the more people that we hire, the more one job everybody has.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you'll always have like that little piece where you're like, all right, I still have to, like, I only know how to do this.
Right.
But like when you get to like Billie Jean's marketing size, it's like he can afford to do that. But that's like, it's what you should grow to be. I don't know how big his team is, but I don't think it's exponentially big like, a corporate 500 company.
Probably has like maybe 15, 16 people.
Yeah, which is a big company, but at the same time, it's really not if you think about it.
Not.
So for that, the fact that he could do that, that's obtainable for a lot of small businesses, I think.
I mean, how many contracting companies out there have 15 or 16 people that are doing, on average, per person is worth about $1 million?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody.
Yeah, So, that should be your end goal, like to be able to take a vacation and not have to worry about,
exactly
coming back.
So let's just walk through some of his systems. So the first thing is going to be marketing, our forte. So with marketing, he has everything checklist out. So whenever, because he used to run an agency just like what we do. So whenever a client comes in, they have a set boom, 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 boom. Facebook, the first step would be like, Facebook ad. The second step would be like landing page, which is where you send the people in the Facebook ad. The third part is going to be the professional stalk, which is like, if somebody goes to that page that you're trying to get them to buy from and they don't buy from you, how do you follow up with them? So let's just say, for example, those 3 things, that's a system in itself. So every time somebody comes in, 1, set up a Facebook ad, 2, set up a landing page, 3, set up the retargeting or the stalking campaign. And each one of those has a step-by-step process of 1, log into Facebook, 2, open up this, 3, open up that. And it's just like, and even if you've been doing it for years, I mean, there's so many things you just skip over that they just still have to check stuff off as you go. And all it did was it just took one time for them to go, okay, let's just document literally every single thing that we do in this process. And then now for them, it's just easy. And the cool part is like they can give that out to their clients as well.
Yeah.
It's just added value.
Yeah, I love that because even though logging in, type in your password, it's super simple. But it's that little thing that's like, oh, that's easy. I could do that. Oh, I could do that. And it's like the whole mindset going into it that doesn't just start with, okay, type in content you want. Like, I love that. Start right from the beginning. No confusion.
Super easy.
Yeah.
So the first thing that was marketing. So if you're running marketing for yourself out there, it's working, just start to list stuff out. And it could even be, let's just say you're using like a third-party lead gen site. It could just be like, put on there like step 1, do this, step 2, do that. Step 3 is every 2 weeks, schedule a call with our advisor or whoever it is. So once you start to actually list that stuff out of what specifically you're doing, and maybe it's on a job site. So if you're, and you know that you're really trying to do more video content on Facebook, you'll know that and every day of the job site, you have a mini checklist where it could be like 9 a.m., Facebook Live about what we're doing for the day. 10 a.m., it could be take a picture of this. 11 a.m., do this. So it's like, oh man, it's a lot, but you just set alarms on your phone. And the next thing you know is by the time you finish the project, you literally have almost every aspect of the job documented.
Yeah.
And what client out there or prospect out there does not want to see a previous project that you've done step by step?
Yeah, exactly. See the transformation.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning. And plus, it's like basically a built-in break if you think about it. 11 a.m., take a picture of this. You're going to take out your phone anyway if you're stopping. So might as well just take a picture of it.
Why not?
It doesn't take any extra effort to do it. So
And then we're talking about, every hour on the hour. You could even do this, 3 times a day. At the beginning, during lunch, and at the end.
Yeah.
And that's it. So you got 3 pictures. You're on the job for 5 days. Now you got 15 different pictures that document 15 different parts of the project or 15 different timelines or stopping points or whatever you want to call it, but it still shows a story of how this project came to be, and stories sell.
Yeah. Everyone likes a good story.
Everyone likes a good story. So that's process number 1. Process number 2, sales. Both of them, Billy Jean's got his whole, his sales process is ridiculous. Let's just walk through Todd's. All right. Todd's process is step 1, call up their office admin, office manager. Ashley, call her up. She's going to ask you pretty much same questions over and over and over, like each person, because it's like, here's the questions that we determine are enough information out of the prospect to see, are we a good fit? It also identifies any red flags, like, if they say, oh, do you do this for free? Or what about, here's like certain like buzzwords that if they say that, they know that maybe we're not the right fit. But because they have it actually written down and documented, she knows exactly what to say.
Yeah. So she doesn't have to go off like on a tangent and be like, and then you panic and then you don't have enough information.
Because like that's one thing that I learned last week was or not learned, but like reiterated was customization is the enemy of scalability. So when you customize something and it's like, oh, we do, we just start from scratch and build it over and over each time, that, unless you're charging an arm and a leg, like it's tough.
Yeah.
Which is why like it's tough to be like a GC that does every single service under the sun.
Yeah. If you can simplify the process and make it repetitive, it's more than likely that you're going to repeat that over and over again. It's going to be, that process will be one thing you never have to worry about again.
Which is why we only do contractors and low urgency contractors is that.
Yeah.
Because it's the same process and we know what works and what doesn't work. So let's just keep doing the same thing and just stick and move from company to company versus, okay, we got a painter. Then we got a remodeler. Oh, a small gym wants us. Oh, yeah, let's do the small, because the way that you market a small gym is different than the way that you're going to market a painting business.
Yeah, right. A whole different process about it. It takes twice as much effort. Yeah, I get that.
So for them, they have step 1 is talk to Ashley. Step 2 is they have an estimate that goes out with Nick. And Nick, as the estimator, is going to go out there and walk you through everything. He knows what to say. He knows what to talk about. Nick, how long are your estimates? Oh, if it's on the short end, it's 15 minutes. On the long end, it's a half an hour. So it's like, that's not long at all because they know exactly what to do when they get out there. Again, written down.
Yep. Yeah, save money there.
Save money. Number 3, once you get the estimate done and the deposit is collected, now it goes over to Jeanette who schedules it. And guess what? They have set up for scheduling an entire process of, the first thing I do is this, and then 2 weeks out I do that, and then 1 week out I do that. So it's like, again, all written down and documented.
Yeah, and the organization that they have, color coordinated, so everyone's got their own color. So they go in there and they look at their blue color, and there you go. That's where you're going.
Everybody being the project, they have like 6 different crews that they run. So every single project manager's got, hey, so-and-so you're in blue, so-and-so you're in red, so-and-so you're in orange. So when they go in there each day to see, where am I at today, it's just on this big whiteboard. They've got it all listed out by color. And it's funny, like when you get so into it with what Todd was explaining, like, oh yeah, like this is our board. Yeah, this is where we schedule stuff. He was like, I don't know what else to talk about this. I'm like, dude, you don't realize like how cool this is because it's like
intricate. It's not just black marker and like you get lost in the margins of the whiteboard. It's color coordinated. Everyone's got their own system and they all know it too. They all know what color they are
because it's documented.
Yes.
And when they hire somebody new, It's all there in like the employee handbook, and they walk through and say, this is, like this will be your color. This is how you're going to do this. This is how, so it's all right there versus just like hey man, like you want to just come in here, go with the flow.
Yeah. If you leave anything up to like someone coming in, like, oh, this could be up to your interpretation, like processes wise, it's just a recipe for disaster. Like they're going to do what they want to do then, and that's not how you go on a smooth operation.
And that's one of the cool things that I learned, like when we shot that video last week about like hiring millennials. Like I asked all you guys, what do you like in business? And both Laura and Melissa said structure. I like structure, which is, you would think like millennials want all this freedom and this and that, but in reality, like you have to start off with structure by saying this is what needs to happen in the job.
Yeah. Or you're just going to leave it up to us and we're going to get stuck in a way, and then there you go. That's it. Hard to change from that.
Exactly. Because if you guys knew, oh, I want to do all this stuff, like you start your own business, but like you like the structure. I mean, and everybody likes structure to a certain extent. So, and that's what they have theirs. They have the structure. It's all laid out nice and neat. So then they get and then, it's all scheduled out. And then the fourth part is going to be the actual, like on the day, like a project walkthrough with your project manager. So it's a pre-job walkthrough. You walk through everything. You go down the contract. You actually, so both parties, both the project manager and the homeowner are on the same page. You walk through the house. You point out different things. Again, because they've trained on it and it's documented, they know what to do.
Yeah. Again, they know what to do. It's easy.
So all this stuff, guys, you got the marketing one. Then you got the sales one. Now you got fulfillment, which is going to be, a system for that. Let's say in this case would be, because we didn't go too in depth into this with them, but a system for that could be like every day, make sure you like potentially you check in. So that's a system, is every day at 9 o'clock or whatever, you have a little check-in like notification on your phone. Part 2 could be at noon, take a picture of the job site. Part 3, so it's like you could literally set up like all the things that you want to have happen on the job site. But again, just take a day. It's like the same way of like, for me, like when I'm like talking to about budgeting. I remember like my mom's big thing is like, instead of just trying to set a whole budget, look at last month. Go through your credit card statement of last month and see where you actually spend money for 30 straight days. And then you make a budget off that. So I'm not saying for this, like you create a step-by-step thing, just document one time, just exactly how you do everything. And then now you're going to start to see that there's a pattern. And then when you take that pattern and you document it and you hand it over to your employee and go, hey, how does this look? And they're like, yeah, that's actually it. It's just, you're just taking all the vision out of your head and putting it down on paper.
Yeah. What did Billie Jean do for fulfillment? What did he say?
So here's his whole process back when he did the agency stuff, which is like nuts. He would have one person's whole job was to find information about whoever they wanted to prospect next. So for example, let's say like they had like a LA Fitness, right? Or, they had some gym that they did really well on. So they said to one guy, they said, great, you go out, you find every name, phone number, and email for every LA Fitness out there. Then they had a cold caller that would call. Step 2 is cold call all these LA Fitnesses to try to get a demo with Billie Jean. And Billie Jean, part 3 is he would take them on a demo on his laptop to say, this is this business that we had, that we did really well with. This is how we did it. This is the results that we had. This is what it cost. What do you think? Then he would close them. And then part 4 is once he would close them, they had 3 people on the back end actually doing the fulfillment, meaning they would set the campaigns up. They would do the campaigns, the monitoring, all that kind of stuff. And he said the thing that made me stand out was that because it wasn't going from one LA Fitness to Cheesecake Factory on the other side of the country. It's the same thing over and over and over. He said when most companies will take a month to get an ad up, we would do it the same day. He said because when you have speed like that, the client's paying you to manage their campaign. Like the first month is you just trying to set it up. He's like, I already had enough data after the first 30 days to be able to like figure out, do we need to pivot? How's it going? Things like that. Plus, he could do it in a day because it's so similar.
That's really smart.
Which is like the directions. As soon as I came back, I said, guys, like this is our new priority. Because like sometimes like what we like to do is we'll like create a full marketing campaign, the Google ads and the landing page and then the Facebook ads and then the email, then this. And then we realize it's not something that people actually care about in this area.
Yeah, it's almost like when you want to get you want to paint your wall, and they'll do the 3 samples. Like, well, here's mustard brown, here's olive green. And instead of painting the whole thing mustard brown, be like, I don't like this one.
100% true.
It's the same thing.
You're just like you're dipping your toe in. So that's what we're starting to do. As of like last week when I came back, I was like, cool, let's just build it out in segments. So like, let's just make sure the same day we at least get like the Facebook ad up there, because again, we've built the full thing. Nobody cares. So now what we can do is you put a Facebook ad up there, and we can see, are people even clicking on this thing? Are they interacting with it at all? Because if people are, then we go, okay, great. Now let's start to build out the rest of the campaign. But if nobody even cares about that first ad, then we could have spent another 10, 20, 30 hours building the rest of the entire campaign out for nothing.
For something that wasn't going to work.
It wasn't going to work in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's just like if somebody, like, let's say, sends you an email that says, hey, I'd like an estimate on painting my bathroom. And before you even talk to them about anything, you already go, you take 10 hours going through designs, you create designs for them, you create different proposals for them, and then you get out there and you realize that they're not even a good fit for you. And you just wasted all this time because you did all this back-end stuff when you should have just been focusing on the very first step. But you've already built out step 2 through 7, hoping that step 1 was going to happen, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
So now we've pivoted over to just get the first part up and be done.
Yeah.
And then once we know that the first part works, great. Now let's move on to step 2.
Yeah, it's smart.
Yeah.
You got to get to the base level first before you can move on and do the whole thing.
Yeah, and we've kind of figured out now, like with, like let's say for remodeling, like we know what people look for. And we know, like for painting, like it's nice because we have different painters that we do stuff with, that the picture, like whatever ad's going to work in one section of the country is going to work in another section of the country because it's not that different. But again, it's nice because if you're doing this stuff on your own and you're just trying to figure it out, you could be going through certain things, which is, it's funny. We're good at marketing for clients, but for us, that's been the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Is marketing for our own stuff, and sometimes it's like we try to go too in depth, but for clients, we just keep it simple and it works.
Yeah. It's like, it's not even, it's almost like we have too much, like we have so much invested in, our company that we work for, that it's like, the client, it's like, not that they don't have anything invested, but it's like, oh, well, this will work. I know this. Yeah. And it's for us, it's just like, oh, we got to think deeper.
Yeah, we got to think.
It can't be this easy.
Yeah, instead of taking like a 3-step process of like what works for a client, we'll like make that 3-step process like 10 steps for us, and it's too complicated. So now we've kind of pivoted back to keeping it simple, and it's starting to work.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah.
So that's how he did it. So again, it was all documented. Boom, 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 boom. And the best part about this is everybody knows that what their place is. So the fulfillment people, it's like, think about this. You get at a restaurant, you've got the cook is in the back. How often does somebody walk to the kitchen and tell the cook, hey man, that was great food? Never. So they don't ever see or get to hear the compliments or get to feel it, but the wait staff does. They hear it all the time. So when we're out there and we in Michigan, we go to this restaurant, and at the restaurant, Zingermann's, they're known for their customer service. Well, they also have a process for whenever a client or a customer at the restaurant compliments the staff, then the waiter or waitress is supposed to write down on a piece of paper, this is exactly what the scenario is, and here's the compliment. And then they give it to that person because it's set up systematically that this is what you do. And how much happier is that cook when they're getting compliments for their food that they went to school for day in and day out, versus they go to school, they come out, and then nobody ever says anything to them.
No idea if people even like his cooking.
No idea.
Yeah, his or her cooking.
Yeah. I appreciate making that gender neutral.
Yeah, I got you.
Smart.
I got you, man. 2019.
Yeah. So that was the very first big thing, guys, is just systems and processes are so big. And it's cool because the same system, like the overall, like it's called there's a book called Traction. We've talked about it before. That's that process, the EOS, that system is how Tribble runs their business, and that's what we put in place here about 5-6 months ago. So it's cool to see like how he runs his stuff.
Yeah.
So we could speak the same language and go, oh yeah, like here's my big rocks, and here's how we do this, and here's my vision. So it's like I have a deep understanding of how he runs his operation because of how we run ours, the exact same setup.
Yeah. I will say one thing. I don't know if you noticed this, but how Zingermann's had their kitchen was kind of open a little bit, where you can kind of still see the chefs working.
Yeah.
You think that has something to do with that environment, that you feel more entitled to compliment the chef because you see them? Because I thought, I didn't compliment the chef to his face,
Right.
but I felt like, oh, that's the guy cooking my food. He looks like he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? It was, and we saw when we were at breakfast, we saw a gentleman go up there and yell behind the counter and say, hey man, those eggs were great, fantastic.
Yeah.
So it was like,
Maybe.
I think that is more of a feel where you see the guy, so you're like, oh, I'm gonna go say hi,
Yeah.
when like it's not tucked in a corner too.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like, I don't know if they did it on purpose, but I wouldn't doubt maybe.
Yeah, that's smart because it's now when I'm thinking about it. Because for example, like whenever like clients get leads and stuff, I'll get a notification on my phone. And sometimes I'm like, hey, cool, it's working. But I don't really say anything to like Laura and go, hey, Laura, like, hey, this ad is killing it.
Yeah.
I'll just like screenshot the first one and send it in, and she's like, okay, cool, it's starting to work. But then 10 leads later, like, I see it, but she doesn't. So she's probably sitting there wondering, like, is this stuff working? Is it not working? Like, what's going on? So I just need to get better at like actually like doing the same thing of like whenever stuff's working, like, hey, like let me add you to these notification lists so you can see for yourself that what you're doing is effective. Yeah. So she feels valued way more than without seeing the notifications.
Affirmation.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah.
I think I said it right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you know that word.
Big word.
So that was the first thing, guys, was the systems and processes, and hopefully that kind of laid out some of the things that you should be doing. Just document stuff. The second big thing that we learned was customer service. Customer service is so big that's like the next person that we're hiring at the company is a customer success manager. Mm-hmm. Somebody to make sure that everybody that we work with for the blueprint, for the CSA, which we're about to start help run that program in itself. Because what we're finding with the CSA, for example, is we'll get in a week 15 new people. And in that same week, we'll lose 10.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just you need somebody just to kind of help you out along the way. So if we bring somebody in and we go, look, we can get the same 15 people, but only 5 leave. Now we just, doubled our retention in essence, or doubled our retention from 5 to 10. So it's the customer service side of things is so big, and both of these people prioritize it.
Mm-hmm. Why do people leave? This is because they're not acting quick
enough?
So
the number one reason why people leave these online programs is because they never get started. They get all fired up, and they say, okay, I'm in, and then they never find the time to do it. Mm-hmm. So we're hiring somebody to make sure that when somebody signs up for the blueprint or signs up for the bridge or whatever it is, this person calls them up and says, hey, great, super pumped to have you. Let me walk you through the entire program in like 10 minutes so you know how to access everything. Let me help you log in to the online portal because, not everybody's tech savvy.
Yeah.
And to have somebody that just can like walk you through step by step so they can show you how to do it yourself, and they show you how to navigate it. I mean, imagine it's the same thing with that Chipotle line where you walk in, it says order here, pay here, versus not having that order here, pay here. It's just somebody just to like let you know how it all should work. So
yeah, that's a real anxiety. I was always afraid to go into a new place that you didn't know because I'm like, where do I even go to order?
Right.
And then you're just sitting up there like,
am
I in the right spot?
Yeah.
So that's a really smart way to go about it. Because that's the worst thing that can happen if you say buy something online and they don't send you a confirmation email. You're like, oh, did they get it?
Did it? Yeah. Do I buy it again? Yeah. Do they double charge me? Things like that. So just letting people know, hey, this is how it all should work. And I think that in itself, like that retention piece is going to be huge for both. But also, it just helps. I mean, it alleviates the unknowns from people. There's a lot of smart things that you can do with this. And we can also see, like, from an analytics standpoint, somebody hasn't logged in to their portal in a month. Let's reach out and just see, hey, man, like, how's everything going? Are you just busy in a good way? Are you, falling off and you just need to get re-engaged? Because sometimes, you get all pumped up for these things. And we see this a lot in, like, for example, the bridge. The bridge, like, people come in, they're super pumped. They're ready to, like, run through a wall for 2 weeks. And then they go, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then they start to slip back. And if somebody just reaches out and goes, hey, man, like, it's been about a month. Like, how you doing? They're like, oh, I know. I got to get back on this. And then, they get back on the train. But to have somebody actually step in is, like, that's why we're hiring that position.
Yeah, even if they're disengaged, be like, hey, is there anything we can do to, like, anything you got in mind, anything you really want to learn or something like that, or you're really itching to talk about, it makes them feel like they're part of it more too.
Yeah.
That they got a say in it.
100%. 100%. Because now they're taking ownership of it, and ownership of something, or responsibility creates empowerment.
Yeah.
So when people take responsibility of their stuff, that's kind of like, if you can get like a customer to like write their own contract or fill in the blanks themselves, they're less likely to call you back up and ask for their deposit back.
They feel like they did it themselves.
They did it themselves.
Yeah.
So customer service is big. And here's kind of some of the takeaways for the customer service to make it more tangible, because I think everybody knows customer service is big, but here are some of the things that we actually learned. So first off, with the Billie Jean one, when I'm out there, they have a lower level program that I'm in. It's like, $100 for me at the time when I signed up, $100 a month, worth it. Now they have one that's $5,000 for the year. So it goes from $100 to $600. But when I signed up, I said, yep, I'm here. This is an awesome program. I'd love to step up to the next level. I got hugs from like 3 or 4 different people on their team. And not just like, hey man, like, cool, like, thanks, I got a commission. It was like legitimately, they were pumped for me.
Can't wait to help you out.
Can't wait to help.
Yeah.
And, I like the sales rep who was there, immediately texts me as soon as I leave and is like, hey, man, this is Taka from Billie Jean. If you need any suggestions for your last night in San Diego, let me know. Happy to help.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like his personal number.
Yeah.
The next day, the onboarding specialist who we're like hiring for, their onboarding specialist gives me a call, shoots me a text. Hey, man, this is what we're doing. Hope everything's all well. Let's so it's super personable. And you would think it's crazy because in the online world with all these courses and programs, I mean, if you run a Facebook ad and you want to get help from Facebook and themselves, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
It is tough.
Mm-hmm.
So thank God we got a specialist that we talk to, that we have like our rep on the inside that like, hey man, how's it going? Like, let's review some of these like we're good on that, but it is tough and it's so frustrating because it's the same thing as, when you dial in and you just want some help and it goes through the whole like press 1 to talk to this, press 2 to talk to that. Our menu options have changed. It's like they changed 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like
it's like the amount of times I've lost my credit card and had to get a new one and I gotta wait 15 minutes before I can speak to someone. And when you speak to someone, it takes 3 seconds to actually get the whole thing done.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why did I just waste 20 minutes with you?
Exactly. So it's just, they humanize everything, which is super cool, which I like a lot. So their customer service is big. We're like, even in an online world, in an online course that's all done digitally, they still have human-to-human connection. If you ever want to talk to them, give them a call.
That's awesome.
It's super well laid out.
I like the personal number too. Makes you feel more connected.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still like a business number, but still, like they get the text.
Like a work phone.
It's a work phone. Yeah, exactly. So that was nice.
Yeah.
And then with Tribble, they, again, with that restaurant, that Zingermann's restaurant, that place is so set up as a restaurant on customer service that they even wrote a book on customer service, and now they even have a customer service consulting company.
That's nuts.
So here's some of the things, and the way that Todd does this is he makes every single one of his new employees in the first 30 days of working there buy this book, or not buy it, but like get this book and then read it, and then Todd quizzes them to see did they actually read it.
Mm-hmm.
And here are some of the things that they have to go through. Is first off, they have what's called the 10-4 rule. 10-4 means if you are within 10 feet of a guest, you must make solid eye contact. Because think about, so many times you walk into like, Chick-fil-A does this really well, but you walk into another, fast food restaurant, and you're the only one there that walked in, and somehow everybody doesn't see you.
Mm-hmm.
Their phones are down, or their eyes are down, whatever it is. Nobody even looks up, and you just feel like, there's a Chipotle that I go to up the road. This is what they do all the time. I walk in, they're still like talking to each other. I'm like, dude, I know you see me.
Yeah, right.
Like literally just go like, hey, I'll be right there.
Yeah, the simple thing like that. I love it when they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, honey, I'll be with you in a minute.
Uh-huh.
Like that one thing, I'm like, oh yeah, no problem.
Cool,
Take
got
your
it.
time. But if you just ignored me and then talk, and then I love when you start talking, and like, oh yeah, can I get, and they like re-continue the conversation one last time. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just start over again.
Yeah, man. You know what? Like, I'll just like thank God like this is $7 for a full meal.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't, like, customer service wise, it's just not good.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the crazy thing is like they're literally in a customer service industry. And you're shocked when you get good customer service.
Yeah.
Shocked. Like, do you think Chick-fil-A is ever going to go out of business with their customer service model?
If someone never went to Chick-fil-A for their food, and they'd probably, the only thing they would know was their top-notch customer service. That's because they're known for that.
They're known for it.
Yeah.
And that's how this restaurant is. So they had the 10-4 rule, which is 10 feet, you have to make solid eye contact. Within 4 feet, you have to give an audible or an auditory hello. Mm-hmm. Hey, something to acknowledge that the person is there. That's
smart.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go too far away, too. So
we used to do this in the Navy where, like, when you first learn, like, oh, yeah, you're supposed to salute this person. They used to call them, like, sniper salutes, where you'd, like, see an officer, like, somebody outranked you, like, across the football field. You'd be like, sir. And you'd, like, throw it up, and they're just like, what's up, man? So, like, so, like, you, like, snipe them down from, like, 40 yards away. Yeah. And they're like, dude, you don't, like, just so you guys know, you don't have to do it chill out.
That's funny.
Yeah. But with this, it's the same thing because, like, everybody puts their heads down when they walk these days. And I do it now where I walk down the street and I do my best to make eye contact with everybody because I just like to see who's actually going to make eye contact with me and who's going to say hello. And it's always the corporate America people, heads down, don't want to make any eye contact whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Construction workers always have their head up and always smile and say hi to me.
Yeah, that's very true.
Just happy.
Walking uptown, I get that all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works. So they have the 10-4 rule. They also have the 5 steps to working with a customer complaint. step number one, because like, for me, I'm big on apologizing. Like, yeah, everything's my fault. If the customer's mad, it's because I did something wrong and I get that. But step one is don't immediately apologize. Reaffirm what they just talked about, because that's what people want. They just want to be heard. And if a customer is complaining, it's the same reason that when you have like the stat I shared this morning was 2 different wait staffs, right? Whenever you ordered, one wait staff would just affirm, oh, great order, that's so smart. And the other one wouldn't do any of that. All they would do is just repeat back the order. The company or the wait staff that did the repeating of the order made 70% more tips.
Yeah.
70%, not 10%, 70 more in tips just by repeating back the order, because people feel heard now.
Yeah. It's like when you don't want like mayo or onions on like a burger.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, like you always wonder if they actually got it. And it's like Russian roulette when you get back to the table and they're like, did he listen to me? If they don't repeat it back. So if they repeat it back, you feel so much more confident.
So much more. So first step is repeat it back. Step number 2 is apologize profusely. Step 3 is, I just had it in my head. Step 1 is repeat it back. Step 2 is apologize profusely. Step 3 is make it right. Do what you can to make it right. Step 4 is thank them for it. And step 5, write it down. And guess what? That's a system in itself. I literally just, like, they have a 5-part system to it. So back to the systems thing.
Yeah.
And then as far as like correcting things, whenever somebody makes an order, step 1 is the what's it called? The waitress or waiter repeats back the order. Step 2, write it down. Or maybe it's like step 1's write it down. Step 2, repeat back the order. Step 3 is have a third person, like a separate person back in the kitchen, review the order, because what if you don't have crab bisque that day or whatever it is? Then like step 4 is like you cook it, and step 5 is like have somebody else double check on the order that like it came out like this is actually medium well, this is actually this.
Yeah.
So it's a quality control thing in 5 steps. Again, better customer service, and it's a system.
Yeah. I also like when the restaurants we went to this week, I think every single one asked once they delivered our meals, hey, can I get anything else for you? Because how many times have you been to a restaurant where they haven't given you any napkins and you have to hunt them down because they didn't ask, they just kind of dropped off and left.
Yeah.
So that just kind of gives you like, oh no, we're good. Like you gave us everything.
Yeah.
You're perfect.
Yeah.
And it's
nuts.
Yeah.
And they talked about in this book that they gave, they said a stat that's people that go from one service provider or product, provider to another, only 14% of people leave because they think the other product's better. The other 86% of people leave because they had a bad experience with somebody.
Yeah. I see that every day with like cable companies. How many times have you switched because you can't get a hold of them or it's the customer service part? Almost always. So that stat is, I'm surprised it's as high as 15 because I feel like a lot of it's all on customer service.
Yeah. It's nuts. I mean, it's yeah. So the thing is like the owner might have that mentality, but if the people don't have that mentality, which is what Todd does a great job of, is every single person has to read this. I mean, when we went out to visit his job sites, his project managers very on it.
Yes.
The painters themselves very on. Like you walked up, they made eye contact with you. They said hello to us, which a lot of times people just put their head down. They don't, who's this camera crew? Who's these filmers coming in?
Yeah.
Like that one dude's like really attractive. And I'm like, guys, like chill, like.
I have a girlfriend. Guys,
yeah, like I'm good. But you got like, people are super like they put their heads down, but these dudes are like nice, man. Like they're super nice. They say hello to you. They shake your hand. It was cool.
I love it. We did a video a while back about like the 9 customer service tips. I think it was. And something I noticed was that everyone, they had like earbuds in, but there was like in headphones. It wasn't loud music, and it was that part where like you wouldn't even know that they were listening to music because they were so quiet about it. So
it was impressive.
Yeah,
all in all,
the whole operation was impressive. Didn't feel like a painting company.
No, no, it literally like you could take that, like you pull out painting and you put it into something else, and it would work exactly the same way. Yeah. Which is nice affirmation for us. That's like, hey, we're building our company on the exact same system.
Yeah.
So like I feel good about where we're going.
He's the legit epitome of take something you like about a company, even not in your industry, and put it in your company.
Yep.
And that's exactly what he did with the customer service.
Yeah, it's super cool. So guys, those are the 2 big things. One is going to be systems. Just document what you're doing. If you don't want to create your own systems for the marketing stuff, just go to contractorgrowthnetwork.com, hop on our wait list for the blueprint, get a bunch of money off, and you'll already have the systems already set up for you. You just got to execute. You got to implement.
Yeah.
2, customer service, right? Customer service is everything. We're all in customer service industries. We just happen to paint, happen to remodel, happen to build homes.
Happy customer, happy life.
Yeah. And so it's just it just seems everybody says good customer service. Like I went to my barber over here, and before this customer service revolution event that I went to a month ago, she was like, "Oh, like what are you up to this week?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm actually going to this customer service event," and she was just like, give me like this look, like,
why would you waste money on that?
Yeah, like what's more than just be nice? And then of course, as you can imagine, it was a very weird haircut.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking to me about like her problems and stuff, and I'm just like, okay,
sick.
Yeah, like I got it. Like so as soon as she said like why would you need to spend money on that? And I'm just like, you're literally in a service industry. Like I guarantee you, if this woman were to like just like take some of these principles, like her tip would have gone from like $10 to $20 over and over and over.
Yeah.
And she's doubled. I mean, so it's like you just gotta take this stuff seriously and actually like implement it.
Yeah, take yourself out of it sometimes too, and just go with the process. Just trust that. Make a lot more money that way.
A lot more money that way.
Hairstylist.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's like her whole job. But whatever. Yeah. So, guys, I hope this helped. I hope it's tangible stuff, not just like, oh yeah, rah customer service. If you need to, go back, listen to the 10-4 rule, the 5 steps to dealing with a customer complaint, and then just start to document everything you do in your company, and it will all work out.
Make that money.
Make that money. Head over to contractorgrowthnetwork.com if you want these systems sent over to you. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Comment, subscribe.
Yeah. Guys, thank you.